More than 400,000 home fires occur in the United States each year, killing more than 4,000 people. Fires often start in older homes, but no home is completely safe because most residential fires are caused by the people who live there. Fires and the fatalities caused by fires are often a result of carelessness, a lack of knowledge, and an improper response to a fire when a fire starts. Hello, my name is Marian Karpinski. I'm a registered nurse and I'll be your host during this program. Fire safety and prevention are an important part of home care, especially when caring for the older adult. People 65 years and older are twice more likely to die in a fire than the national average. Adults 85 years and older are 4.5 times more likely to die in a fire. The normal aging process causes some people to be more vulnerable to fires. Aging can cause a change in our senses and physical function. An older adult may not hear the smoke alarm or smell the smoke or gas leak. Gas and smoke inhalation causes disorientation and breathing difficulties and can affect an older adult much more quickly. Physical decline and poor eyesight can make it difficult for an older person to escape a fire. Medications may affect a person's ability to make critical decisions during a fire emergency. Many times, after an older person dies in a fire, the investigation reveals that that person was directly involved in the start of the fire. As a caregiver, you have an important role in fire prevention. You can reduce the risk of injury or death to yourself and the person you're caring for by understanding what makes a fire, by identifying and correcting fire hazards in the home, and by knowing what to do when a fire starts. There are 4 components that are necessary for a fire to start. The first is oxygen, which is present in the air. The second element is fuel. Fuel is a material being burned. Fuel can include materials such as draperies and doilies, paper, wood, upholstery, gasoline, and propane. Heat is the third component. Heat provides the energy necessary to ignite the fuel. Some common sources of heat are stoves, fireplaces, cigarettes, wiring, hot water heaters, and furnaces. The fourth component is a rapid chemical chain reaction that can occur when oxygen, fuel, and heat combine. According to the United States Fire Administration, 75% of older Americans who die in home fires do not have working smoke alarms. Most home fire deaths occur during the night and are caused by smoke, toxic gas, or a lack of oxygen rather than the fire itself. The smell of smoke will not wake you because the toxic gas puts you into a deeper sleep. Smoke alarms provide an early warning in the event of a fire and can increase your chance of surviving a fire.
The important thing about smoke alarms is that you need to have them in the areas you're going to be spending a lot of time in, near the kitchen. Kitchen fires happen normally during the daytime, when your hours are that you're awake. You need to have near your bedroom so that when you're sleeping is the time that could be the most dangerous, because a fire can start in the opposite end of your house, and you need to have that smoke alarm detection so that you can wake up and get out of that house on time and as fast as possible.
The best place for a smoke alarm is in the center of the ceiling. If this isn't possible, install the alarm on the ceiling 4 inches from the nearest wall. To install a smoke alarm on a wall, place it 6 to 12 inches below the ceiling. Alarms should be located away from air vents, windows, doors, or forced air registers where drafts could interfere with the alarm's operation. To be sure that the smoke alarms are in good working order, test them monthly. Batteries and bulbs should be checked twice a year. Replace smoke alarms after 10 years. There are a variety of smoke alarms available, including disposable 10-year battery alarms and alarms with a hush reset feature. If you're caring for someone who is hearing impaired, there are smoke alarms equipped with strobe lights and vibrators. Before you install the alarm, follow the manufacturer's instructions on where to place the alarm and how to maintain it. If you have any questions, call your fire department. Some fire departments offer smoke alarm programs which include help with installation. In most areas, 911 is the telephone number to call for all emergency services. Check to be sure that your area has 911 service. Emergency telephone numbers for fire, police, poison control, or 911 should be written in large print and posted in clear view next to every telephone. It's also a good idea to have your home address listed with the emergency numbers. Visiting relatives and other caregivers may not remember the address, especially during an emergency. To make it easier for firefighters to find the home, be sure the address is visible from the roadway. Post address signs at the driveway entrance. Directional signs should be posted at all driveway forks. You can save lives and property damage by putting out small fires with a portable fire extinguisher. There should be at least one fire extinguisher on each level of the home, particularly in the kitchen, laundry room, garage, and workshop.
When you're looking for a fire extinguisher to buy, you should look for one that's multi-purpose. On the extinguisher, it's going to say whether it's A, B, C. A stands for ordinary combustibles, wood and paper. B is for flammable liquids, grease and gasoline. And C would be electrical. And that would be your choice, would be look for one that's multi-purpose that will do all those jobs for your home. The other type of fire extinguisher you could buy for your home to protect your computer equipment so you didn't have the powder all over the computer would be a CO2 fire extinguisher. That would be the two choices that I would buy for my home. The rules have changed a little bit on extinguishers. If we check an extinguisher out in a business, the extinguishers are now good for 3 years. But for the home use, they should be checked on a regular basis. Somebody's anniversary for their birthday, quarterly, first of the month type thing, every quarter, to make sure that the gauge is reading in the green. It has a tag still in place with the pin that shows that it has not been used. You can visually look at it to make sure that it has not been used for any purpose and it's ready to go.
High-quality rechargeable fire extinguishers can be purchased from a fire extinguisher dealer. A dealer can also advise you on the best fire extinguisher for your needs.
Before you attempt to extinguish a fire, you need to call 911 or emergency services. You need to plan an escape route and have that to your back side. You need to stand 6 to 8 feet away from the fire. And remember a 4-step procedure that spells pass. Number 1 is pull the pin. Number 2 is aim the nozzle at the fire, base of the fire, squeeze the trigger, and sweep the base of the fire. Not the top of the flames, the base of the fire. And remember that the fire extinguisher is only going to last for 8 to 20 seconds. So if you only have that 30-second time period. So if you haven't put it out within that time period, then you need to take your escape route and leave the building. Even if you believe the fire is out, the fire department still needs to come out and inspect it after you've called them initially.
When a person is on fire, the stop, drop, and roll technique can be used to extinguish the fire. First, stop the person from running or walking, then help them drop to the floor. To smother the fire, roll the person across the floor several times until the fire is out, or use a blanket to put out the fire. After a fire starts, every second counts. In less than 30 seconds, a small flame can become a major fire. It takes only minutes for a home to fill with smoke and flames. You must have an escape plan, and you must rehearse it. Make an escape plan on paper for every member of the family. Draw a floor plan for the whole house, showing at least 2 ways out of every room. Then identify 2 exits out of the house. Designate a meeting place away from the house. Plan to meet at a specific tree or at the end of a driveway to make sure everyone has gotten out safely. Practice your escape plan at least twice a year. Remember, fire will be black, not light. Don't forget to practice your escape plan in the dark or blindfolded. Practice crawling to and through exit routes. Sound the smoke alarm so that everyone knows what it sounds like. Be sure to teach children never to hide during a fire, especially from firefighters. Designate someone to be responsible for each small child, elderly, or disabled person who may not be able to get out on his or her own. Windows and doors that will be used as an exit should be kept unobstructed. If any windows have security bars, be sure the bars are equipped with a quick-release mechanism. UL-approved collapsible ladders are available for second-floor rooms. Be sure the ladder reaches the ground and can support the heaviest person in the home. To leave a burning building that is filling with smoke, drop to your knees and crawl. There is less smoke and heat at floor level. Crawl to the nearest door or window that allows you to exit the building as quickly as possible. Kneel or crouch at an interior door that is closed. Reach up as high as you can and feel the door with the back of your hand. If the door is hot, do not open it. Heat and fire are probably on the other side. Use another exit route. If the door is cool, brace your shoulder against the door and open it slowly and carefully. Close the door behind you. This will help slow the spread of fire and smoke. Leave the burning building as fast as you can. Do not stop for any reason. Once you are outside, go to the prearranged meeting place and stay there. Do not go back into the building under any circumstances. If emergency services have not been called, have one person go to the neighbor's home and make the call. If you are trapped in a burning building, close all doors between you and the fire and stuff towels, blankets, or rugs in the space between the door and the floor. This will reduce the amount of smoke entering the room. If there is a telephone in the room, call 911 and tell them exactly where you are. If possible, open a window and breathe the air from the bottom of the window. Wait at the window and signal for help with a flashlight or light-colored cloth. If you are in a burning multi-story building that has an elevator, do not try to use it. You could become trapped. Use the stairway instead. The best chance of surviving a fire for someone in a wheelchair is to choose a bedroom on the ground floor with a door to the outside. Wheelchair ramps should be at every outside exit. Make it a point to meet your neighbors and become acquainted with them. They could assist you or the person you're caring for in an emergency situation. When caring for someone on bed rest, the wrap and slide technique is a safe way to move that person out of danger. Use a blanket or sheet to wrap the person's body. Support their head and shoulders as you gently slide them off the bed in the direction of the exit. Oxygen equipment is one of the most potentially hazardous types of medical equipment in the home.
When you have home medical oxygen at your home, you want to make sure that there is no ignition source around. That means no smoking, no candles, no hair dryers, no electric razors around while it's in use. It is a highly flammable gas and can be very dangerous if you use it with any ignition source at all. It's also highly under pressure. This bottle here has 2,000 pounds per square inch in it, and if it's not secured in a stand, tied off somehow so it can't fall over, or laid flat is a better way to do it. If the head gets knocked off, it can become a projectile with that much pressure on it and do some pretty severe damage. If you work in an automobile shop or in your garage or something, and you come back in with grease or oil on your hands and you turn the bottle on, that could create an ignition source also.
If oxygen is in use, enforce a no smoking policy in your home and post a no smoking sign in plain view at each entryway. Using the oven or stove as a heater in the kitchen can be dangerous. Do not store flammable items such as paper or cloth napkins in an oven. Someone could accidentally turn the oven on while these items are stored there. Never pour water on a grease fire because it will cause the fire to spread. If a fire starts in a pan, leave the pan on the stove, cover it with a lid, and turn off the heat source. Avoid cooking while wearing clothing with loose or dangly sleeves, which could catch on fire. Keep towels and pot holders away from the oven and burners. To prevent burns, turn pot handles inward away from the front of the stove so they're less likely to be pulled down or bumped. Never leave cooking unattended. Always keep a multi-purpose ABC model fire extinguisher in the kitchen that is easily seen and easy to get to. Do not place anything on top of an electric blanket while it is in use. Heat can build up and burn the person using the blanket, or it can eventually ignite a fire. Heating pads can cause serious burns or fires if left unattended, even on low setting. Never sleep while using a heating pad. A flashlight, walking aids, and eyeglasses should be kept at the bedside. A bell or whistle can be used to call for help in an emergency. Close the bedroom door before going to bed. A closed door helps to slow the spread of a fire if one starts. Outdated household wiring and overloaded electrical systems can cause fires to start. One way to reduce the risk of an electrical fire is to never use fuses or circuit breakers that are rated for a higher amperage than the circuit was designed for. To quickly turn off the electrical power to the house, locate and label the main electrical switch at the circuit breaker box so that it's easily visible during an emergency. If you suspect an electrical fire, call 911 or your local emergency number immediately, then turn off the main electrical supply to the house. Exposed wiring from switches and outlets is a shock hazard as well as a fire hazard. Be sure all outlets and switches in your home have cover plates installed with no wiring exposed. If young children are present, use outlet covers. If a cover plate of an outlet or switch feels warm to the touch, turn the switch off or unplug electrical cords from the outlet. This may be a sign of an unsafe wiring condition. Have an electrician check the wiring as soon as possible. The grounding feature provided by 3-pronged plugs and 3-holed receptacles is a safety feature designed to reduce the risk of shock. Never remove the grounding prong. If your outlet does not have 3 holes, use an adapter to connect a 3-pronged plug and make sure that the ground wire or tab is correctly attached to the outlet. Electrical cords should not be covered by rugs, carpets, or any other material that can become fuel for a fire. Never attach electrical cords to walls or baseboards with nails or staples. A staple or nail can puncture or damage wire insulation, which is used to isolate one wire from another. If you find a cord that is frayed or cracked, replace it immediately. Extension cords are designed for temporary use and should not be used inside ceilings or run through windows, walls, floors, or doors, where they can deteriorate unnoticed. Extension cords that are designed for interior use are not weather resistant and should not be used outdoors. Do not overload an extension cord. It can overheat and become a fire hazard. Never piggyback extension cords. Power strips can be convenient to use when multiple appliances are needed in the same location. If you use a power strip, be sure it is UL listed and has a built-in circuit breaker that cuts off electricity to the power strip when it becomes overloaded. Light bulbs generate heat. Ceiling fixtures, recessed lights, and hooded lamps trap and retain heat. If the wrong type of bulb is used, or one with a higher wattage than recommended, the light bulb and its fixture can overheat and start a fire. Use a bulb of no more than 60 watts if you cannot determine the correct wattage bulb for a particular fixture. Halogen lamps generate much more heat than standard incandescent light bulbs. To avoid starting a fire, do not use halogen lamps in areas where wind could cause curtains or any combustible material to come in contact with the bulb. Most modern appliances are safe to use and will not cause a fire if you follow a few simple precautions. Appliances that are not in use should be unplugged. When you need to use the appliance, insert the plug completely into the outlet before turning it on. Avoid leaving appliances on overnight. Do not try to repair an appliance yourself. Poking utensils or other objects into an appliance, such as a toaster or hairdryer, can cause a shock or ignite a fire. Keep appliances away from sink areas and hot surfaces. If you see smoke or smell an unusual odor coming from an appliance, unplug it immediately and call a qualified repair person to inspect it and repair it. Clothes dryer vent hoses accumulate lint and should be inspected and cleaned twice a year. Heat buildup could spark a fire in the hose or dryer. All vents should be directed to the outside. An iron that is turned on and left unattended could pose a fire hazard. If you're caring for someone who is forgetful, consider purchasing an iron with an automatic shutoff.
Well, the primary difference between natural gas and propane is the fact that natural gas is lighter than air, so natural gas will ultimately rise and dissipate. Propane, on the other hand, is heavier than air and it will settle down at the floor level. Both natural gas and propane, an odorant is added so that you can smell if there is a leak in your home. The other factor is you might hear gas escaping if you have a leak. Well, the odor actually in both cases smells a lot like rotten eggs, but if you're not sure what that odor is, you might contact your provider and find out if they can at least provide you with a sample of what that odor might smell like.
All propane tanks and cylinders have a main shutoff valve. Be sure you know where this shutoff valve is located and how to use it. Portable propane tanks should not be stored or used in the home.
Well, natural gas is safe, but to keep it safe, it's important that you, your family, and any caregivers that you have coming into your home are aware of certain basic precautions. So if you smell or hear natural gas, you have to keep in mind that gas mixed with air and exposed to a spark can be combustible. So don't light any matches, don't smoke, don't turn on any electrical switches or use the telephone or do anything else that's going to cause a spark. Also, open any doors to the outside or any windows to allow fresh air in and the gas to escape. Then evacuate the home of anyone that's there and go to the neighbors and call the utility from their phone and keep people out of the home until the utility tells you that it's safe to go back in.
Alarm units that detect gas are available wherever you can buy a smoke alarm. A pilot light is a constant burning flame that is fueled by gas. The pilot light eliminates the need to manually light the appliance. Though most pilot lights are protected by a shield, you should still protect the pilot light from drafts and litter. Do not store combustible liquids or materials near or on top a gas appliance. A pilot light could ignite any flammable material. Keep your gas appliances reliable and safe by having them inspected and cleaned once a year by a qualified service professional. Do not use space heaters in areas of high traffic such as hallways. Someone could trip over it, causing a fire or a burn. Never leave a space heater on unattended, such as when sleeping or when no one is home. Some space heaters have safety features, such as an automatic shutoff and a high-temperature limiting device. Flammable materials such as bedding, draperies, rugs, furniture, and flammable liquids should be kept at least 3 feet away from space heaters. Gas and kerosene space heaters use oxygen to operate and release carbon monoxide. Be sure to leave a window open to provide proper ventilation in order to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide detectors are available for use with these types of heaters. And never refuel a space heater while it is running. Creosote buildup in a stovepipe or chimney can ignite and cause a flue fire. You can reduce creosote buildup by burning seasoned wood rather than freshly cut wood. Having the stove, stovepipe, or chimney cleaned yearly will also reduce the chance of a flue fire. Do not overload stoves or fireplaces with wood. This can cause excessive creosote buildup from smoldering wood. Combustible materials such as towels, drapes, and newspapers should be kept away from stoves and fireplaces. If a stovepipe or chimney fire should start, close off the air supply and call 911 or emergency services. Use a screen around the fireplace to keep jumping embers from landing on the floor or rug. When cleaning out a fireplace or wood stove, place the ash and embers in a metal container and put them outside on a fireproof surface. Tree branches should be at least 10 feet away from the stovepipe or chimney. Kerosene, gasoline, paint thinners, and other volatile materials should be stored in clearly marked sealed containers. Use metal containers for storage of mops, dust rags, gloves, painting equipment, and other oily supplies. Store all flammable liquid and supplies outside of the home or garage away from sunlight or any other heat source. Whenever you have to refuel a hot machine such as a lawnmower, wait at least 5 minutes before refueling. Recycle magazines and newspapers so they don't build up in your garage or home, providing fuel for a fire. Hibachis or barbecue equipment should never be used indoors. Burning charcoal gives off lethal amounts of carbon monoxide and can cause death from toxic gas. To start a charcoal fire, use fire starter made of solid material. Be sure the grill is away from flammable materials such as low porch ceilings, walls, or shrubbery. Smoking continues to be the leading cause of deadly home fires in the United States. Do not allow someone who is confused or has dementia to smoke without supervision, and never leave smoking materials unattended. Before going to bed, check the rug and chair cushions on both sides for ashes that may have dropped accidentally. If a cushion or chair has been burned, move it outside, away from the house, and call the fire department. Upholstered chairs or couches may smolder for hours before breaking into open flame. Use wide ashtrays. Soak the contents with water or empty them into a toilet before going to bed. Never allow someone to smoke in bed or when lying down. He or she could fall asleep with the cigarette burning. Do not store matches or lighters in direct sunlight or near heat sources which could spontaneously ignite them. Teach children that matches and lighters are not toys. You can prevent injury or death from a fire by having working smoke alarms and fire extinguishers installed throughout the home. To avoid panic when a smoke alarm goes off, practice exit drills. In some situations, people are afraid to call the fire department. They delay, wondering if it's necessary. Keep in mind that any fire can quickly become a matter of life and death. Don't hesitate to call the fire department. They are there to keep you, your family, and the person you're caring for safe.